I'm pleased to say we're joined by the winner of this year's Riley's Aberdeen UK Open qualifier, Sean Ryan. Thanks for the time, Sean. How are you doing?
No problem at all. Thank you. Yeah, I'm keeping fine. Thank you. Yourself?
Doing well here too, thank you. And we are
Good.
talking just a few days before you're going to make the long journey down to Minehead for your debut in the UK Open. How are you
Yeah.
feeling as we edge closer to that Friday afternoon and what's going to be your first appearance in a PDC major?
Yeah. Obviously excited. The travel, yeah, is a bit planes, trains, and automobiles to get there. I'm going up with one of my best pals, Scott Campbell. He's qualified as well. So we go up to Inverness, fly to Bristol, a train to Taunton, and then some form of transport from Taunton to Minehead. So we get in, I think, about 9 p.m. on the Thursday night. So yeah, I think then it'll just be maybe I think we were talking about trying to find maybe somewhere quiet to have an hour or so on the board and then try and get an earlyish night and then get up and prepare for Friday. So
Yeah, I mentioned it's going to be a long journey for you, and you talked through it there as well. How long is
yeah.
it going to be from, I guess, door to door from home to Minehead on Thursday
Um
night?
so it's 2 hours on a train up to Inverness. The flight is about an hour and a half. And then I think it's something like 40 odd minutes on the train to Taunton, and then it's another 30 odd miles from there or something like that. So yeah, I think we leave at 10 a.m. and we don't arrive till 9 p.m. So over the course of the day, it's going to take us, yeah, about hours. So
Well, let's talk about something that didn't take as long as that, and that was your campaign in the Riley's qualifiers that earned you a
yeah,
spot in the UK Open because you entered the qualifier at your local club in Aberdeen. There was
yeah,
47 players that entered. Your first game started just after half two, and you had the final wrapped up just after half five. Before that
yeah.
first game, how are you feeling about your game and your chances of going all the way?
Do you know it's a strange one? Is I was at my girlfriend's the night before, and we were just having a very quiet night, and just chatting away. And I said to her, like, she's always like saying to me, "Oh, I think you need to believe a bit more in yourself than probably what I do." I think I've always been a sort of glass half empty kind of person sometimes. So I kind of thought, oh, and I woke up the next morning and said, I think I'm going to do really well today, which is strange. It's not like me to say things like that. So um, I think it was maybe just went in with the maybe feeling I was going to play well and did play well. I played a lot of really good players that day, and maybe the results maybe flattered me a bit. Um, with the score lines, but a lot of the games were very close. Played a lot of really good players, a lot of Scottish internationals. William Borland was there. There's a lot of good players in the field. It was a bit disappointing the turnout. I think I would have liked to have seen a lot more people, considering it's the only one in Scotland. In previous years gone by, there's always been around about 100 odd entries, maybe even more. So, um, I think from that aspect, it's a bit disappointing, but I suppose it was good for me. So I can't complain.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the turnout because obviously it was a lot lower than probably what we
Yeah,
expected.
definitely.
And last year we saw that the Riley's qualifiers for the UK Open, they were scrapped entirely. Had you played in any of the Riley's qualifiers in the past? And if so, how close had you
Yeah.
come to qualifying in the past?
Yeah, I've played in a few. I lost in the final 1 year to Scott Robertson. He's qualified multiple times through it, so I think again that was a tough day. I think I played 5 or 6 games just to get to the final that day compared to how many I obviously played that time around. And then actually, I think my record is one final and then I think it's three first round losses. So I either go to the final or lose in the first round. I think is the record there. So
Yeah, mine's pretty similar apart from the final, I think. But we did see that the PDC obviously bring back the Riley's qualifiers this year. There was eight of them held
yeah, it
across
was
the
good. Yeah,
UK, along with the eight PDC and the community qualifiers as well. How did
yeah.
you get the word that the Riley's qualifiers were coming back, and how quick were you to put your name in for the Aberdeen one?
Well, I think I'd seen it advertised. I can't remember if it was on maybe Facebook or somebody had screenshotted the photo and seen it and sent it into a group chat or something along those lines. Um, so it was just to kind of, oh, well, that's back, maybe go along. I'm kind of strange with darts is that, yeah, if I feel like I'm up to playing it, I'll go, I'll go. So, it's it was on that day. I was obviously thinking, well, that's fine. I'll go to that because there's nothing else on that weekend. So, um, which is obviously why it was a bit of a disappointing turnout, even from Aberdeen has got such a great high standard and level of dart player. You know that there's so many good darts players here. You know, I think the first year I went down and played for Scotland, there was I think 7 boys from Grampian alone in that team. It was Jamie Bain, Scott Campbell, Stephen Mickey, Tony Truman. You know, these are all people that do well on challenge tours and excel at high levels as well. So it's nice, obviously, when you see your name as the one that comes out as the qualifier in that kind of field. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, and you mentioned one of them, Stephen Mickey, who you played in the final of the
Yeah,
qualifier this year. How were the nerves going into the final? I know you mentioned you've played in a final before, but what was it like this time round?
yeah. Do you know the attitude I had all day was that I was just throwing. I was just throwing darts and not thinking too much about it. And that's I think everybody when they're at that kind of level and you just throw them without any thought process. That's usually when you play your best stuff. You know. I saw that the semi final was Scott Robertson and Stephen Mickey, who obviously I'd mentioned he was a kind of prolific, you know, appearance in the makes appearances in the UK Open. So I'd finished my game and I thought, oh, that's fine. I'll go to the toilet and prepare and get ready for my next game. Um, and then I came back and Stephen was practicing on the board. So I thought, oh, well, he's obviously won that game. So then it was just a case of focusing on and just trying to get the job done. Stephen's a great player and a really nice person as well. So, we play the same county team, but we play the opposite rival teams on a Monday night in Aberdeen. So, and we won the title last night. Sorry, Stephen.
Well,
But yeah, no, it was just focusing and trying to get the job done. That was all I was thinking. I didn't start well in the first leg, though. I kind of thought, oh dear. And then after that, I played really well. So
yeah, you dropped the first leg, but then you win five legs on the spin to win that final
yeah,
5-1. What were the emotions like after that winning double goes in and you've secured your spot at the UK Open?
yeah, it was a nice feeling. I think that was about the only time I think I'd actually celebrated all day. Actually, if I'm being honest, it was like it wasn't an over spill of emotion. It was just a kind of relief feeling, you know. I think obviously from saying I'd been in a final once before. Played on back when they used to do UK Open qualifiers through the PDC. I'd come quite close when it was through a money ranking list. I think I came within one game of qualifying then as well. So it was obviously just nice to get over the line and at least you can look back and say, well, I did it at UK Open. That's a nice thing to have on your CV, dart and CV.
Definitely. And for a lot of darts fans, this will be the first time seeing you play this weekend at the UK Open. But I was reading earlier that you've played on the PDC Tour more than a decade ago now. You mentioned those UK Open qualifiers, a handful
Yeah.
of Players' Championships in 2013 and 2014. So, what do you remember about those experiences playing on the professional tour at late teens, early 20s, I'm guessing?
Tough. Yeah. It was it's obviously I think the standard's gone up even from then, but there's so many great players. I played a lot of lucky enough to play in a lot of pro tours because well the first year I went down to Q school I got 5 points and I came within 2 games of winning an automatic tour card on my first attempt. I lost to Royden Lamb, very good player from Asia. If I'd won that game, I would have played Ronnie Hybricks for a tour card. Obviously, went on and was in it for years. So I don't know. You never know if you get to that one-off game. The way I was playing that day, I felt good. But yeah, no, I played a lot of really good players. I suppose got a lot of really good experience from that, and yeah, kind of suppose it's put me to where I am today. I guess, yeah,
Yeah, you played those events. You've also competed in things like the development tour, the challenge tour. You mentioned Q School as well. You've been in that many times over the years. But take
yeah.
us back to how it all started for you in darts, though. How old were you when you first discovered darts, and how did you get introduced to the game?
So I was maybe 12, 13 years old, maybe around about then. Um, my mum's partner, he got me into darts. And then from there, my friend Bradley Weston, his parents ran the Darts Academy in Aberdeen. And so a lot of really good players went to that as well. Obviously, you're just learning your craft at that age. So you're just trying to throw straight darts rather than, trying to hit 180s and stuff all the time. It was just a case of, learning. They did a lot of good things with teaching you how to count, teaching you like the math side of things, which is like so important for the game now. You see, everybody goes different ways to leave certain shots and stuff. So it was more just that kind of things. I think I'd won my first tournament about a year later. I feel like that's one of the best things I'd won because obviously it's the first thing you've ever won, isn't it? So it's nice. I've still got the trophy at home, a little under 13s or whatever it is tournament Christmas thing.
Very nice. Well, from winning under 13s titles to obviously now getting to play at the UK Open, you're talking about 20 years there. Have you always played darts in that time, or have you had any time away from the game?
Yeah, no, I've always played. Obviously, gone through really good spells of playing really well, and gone through a lot of low spells of not playing well at all. Actually, to the point where I was thinking about like giving it a break for at least like a good few months for the tail end of the season um, last year, and then a couple of days later, I got a call up to play for Scotland for the second time. So I was like, it doesn't make sense to me because I wasn't playing well, or I didn't feel like I was playing well. But I'd done really well on the Scottish tour that they'd ran. I'd finished second overall in that, so I'd had my best games sort of on that. And yeah, through that I got a selection. It's probably the best thing that happened because it gave me the backside to actually, practice again, take it seriously, and try and get back to where I was instead of just shaking my head and not playing well. And yeah, I think it was a good motivator anyway for sure.
Definitely. And you mentioned about representing Scotland on the international stage as well. What was that moment like when you first pulled on the Scotland shirt and you're playing for your country?
Yeah, very proud. Great achievement. The whole I got picked off my county performances the first year that I played. I think I was playing really well. I think I sat maybe sixth or seventh overall in the county averages. But the people that were above me were like Alan Suter, who had a tour card, Willie Borland, who had a tour card, and who else? Jamie Clark, he had a tour card at the time as well. So obviously, when those names came out, my name went higher up. So I suppose I kind of put myself in a position where they couldn't not select me. Yeah, it was a great feeling. It was good. And I won my first game against Wales when I was down there. Mm. Then I lost to James Hurrell England game. I think he was sitting WDF World One number one at the time, so I suppose there's no shame in losing that game. So
Definitely not. And we touched on Q School as well. You went there every year from 2013 to 2020. You skipped a couple of years, but you then played 2023 to 2025. But we didn't see you go to Q School this year. Was there a reason behind that, or you just decided not to give it a go this year?
well, my dad passed away at the tail end of last year, and I thought I was going to take a little break and just take a like, kind of bit of time away from darts, and then I kind of thought, well, it's not kind of what he would have wanted you to do. Although I didn't do the Q School this year, I still played a lot of local things, and I just stripped it back, just enjoying it. I couldn't say there was anything more I was doing than just enjoying darts, like not putting pressure on myself. Kind of like there's more to life than this. You know what I mean? So I kind of put a lot of things into perspective for me, which was sad, but obviously nice as well in a good way that there wasn't so much pressure just to, throw three pointy things at a board.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry to hear about your
Yeah.
dad. And when I was doing some research ahead of this chat, I did see your nickname in darts was listed as Green Giant. Is that correct? And if so, how did that come about?
So I don't really have per se a nickname, but the Green Giant kind of came from years ago. There was like tournament that was like protege events. So that was Chris Clegg that ran them. He had Kyle Anderson, obviously sadly no longer with us as well. And Aidan Kirk, they did a lot of touring up and down the country. And I won, like I'd got to latter stages of one of the tournaments and that paid for my Q school. So he'd asked to put a nickname on the back of my shirt. So I had my friends from school, they said, oh, you should be the Green Giant. The green being because I support Celtic. And But I'd like get called other nicknames. Like one of the people I work with work, she calls me Robin Hood. So there's that as well. But yeah, I don't really have a nickname as such, but the Green Giant will go with that.
Fair enough. Well, beyond the UK Open this weekend, I know you said about wanting to enjoy your darts going forward. What are the plans darts wise for the rest of this year? Are there any tours, any competitions you've got your eye on?
So it'll be Scottish tours for the rest of the year. Plan on going to all of them to try and get my Scotland place back for next season. That's the new goal for next year. And then it'll just be some local tournaments. I might go to a few, just pick and choose, see what I like. I maybe go to a WDF one maybe this year, depending on where they are. I'm going down to the Challenge Tour at the end of the year to support the lads and probably do the bar run. That's probably the excitement of that. And I think that's about it really, to be honest. I think it'll just be local stuff probably. A lot of tournaments in Scotland that you can pick and choose that are really good and really good standard of players. So the plan.
We'll finish up with a couple of questions that have been sent in by our listeners. But
All
looking
right.
further
Okay.
ahead, I know this weekend's a bigger one for you, a big milestone ticking off playing at the UK Open. But is there anything else on the darting bucket list that you want to tick off before you call it a day?
Oh wow. Well, I'd like to win a tour card one day. I suppose that's the kind of goal for everyone that's not a professional. It all depends on my dedication as well to it. I would say I'm a lazy practicer or a not really a practicer, if you want to say. And so I suppose that you only get out what you put in, I suppose, and that's where I'm at with that. So I think if I was going to go back, I'd want to go a proper go with it. I think I'd have to put the dedication back in to try and get there. Um, keep a regular place in Scotland would probably be a nice thing as well. I think there's a better, achievement than playing for your country at a sport that you like. So no, I don't think there is anything else besides that. I think that would be the main things. I think that would be the good aims to get.
Sounds like a plan. Well, let's get to these listener questions then. The first one comes from Cal Matthews, who says, "What is your best tale from your youth/slash challenge tour days?"
Um, they were great days. I met so many great people. I used to share with Jamie Landon, who's a good friend of Cal's as well. We used to go um, all the tournaments. They were great. Derbies, your Wolverhamptons, your Barnsleys, Wigan. Like I know Wigan better than Aberdeen. I think I've been there that many times. Um, you know what? Just not one memory as such, but just like meeting really nice people and just enjoying the company probably more than anything. There's so many great players there. I mean, when I first started, like Van Gerwen, Michael Smith, Adam Monk, James Hubbard, those were the kind of Ricky Evans. They were the kind of elite kind of players then. So it was now you see it's obviously Littler and Cam Cabchi and Owen Bates and all these the new ones now are still fantastic players as well, and they probably are doing the same things as well.
Good times. Well, the last one, a bit closer to home, comes from Big G180. He says, "Why do you think there isn't more players from Scotland, particularly the northern parts, playing at a high level? Is it just logistics or the standard?" And he's put PS, "I don't think it's the standard as such, maybe the drive and determination."
A good question. Yeah, there's like I said earlier, there's so many good players in Aberdeen. Like the list of players, even when you turn up to a local competition, you're like one of 25 people could win it, and you wouldn't be surprised whoever the winner ended up being. I think for one, a lot of it is definitely money, sponsorship. And like say Aberdeen's, probably one of the furthest away places, and even there's a lot of good players that come from like Inverness, which is even further up north. So definitely, probably logistics wise, yeah, money. Probably, I mean, they can't just put it somewhere easy to find. Minehead's in the middle of nowhere. I didn't even know where that was on a map until I looked it up the other day. So yeah, just getting to there is a nightmare. And then obviously, if you strip it back and you look at all the costs for all this stuff, you're probably, and then if you didn't have a successful weekend, then all of a sudden you're, five, six, £700 down, just for one weekend, and that's before you've even eaten or drank. So definitely, I think you definitely need a good bit of backing behind you. But I don't think it's a case of talent wise, definitely, because there's plenty of good players up here. I think it's also just maybe some of them haven't gone to do it that are more than capable of doing it. So, but I've heard a few of the boys here are going to plan to do key school next year. So maybe watch out for a few more Scotland flags getting some tour cards. That would be nice for them.
So we'll look forward to that. Before then, though, Sean, we have got a UK Open debut for you this weekend. Congratulations again on winning through the qualifiers and wish you all the best, not just for Minehead this weekend, but what else is to come in 2026 as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Can I give a quick shout out to my sponsors if that's okay?
Of
That'll
course
help
you
me
can.
go down. Yeah,
Go for
so
it.
Colin Cameron from the Masada Bar where I play locally, he's helped me out since day one from joining the team. So he's been a really great help. And my pal Imran Ali, who owns his shop down Addywell Post Office, just outside Livingston, does good stuff. So if anybody's in that area, should go and check it out. Um, and that's it. That's just the two.
All right. Shout out to them. And yeah, Sean, great to get you on the show.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me.